something bigger. And every time you comply, he'll pamper you and make you feel as if you're the only woman on earth. And then one day, you'll wake up and realize that you've been used, that you've chained yourself to this man who seeks only to further his own interests at the expense of your peace and safety, and that his careless use of your power has drawn the attention of your father. Now you must defend him and yourself, and you're not ready. Then, when the opportunity presents itself, he'll betray you to save his own skin. This is the worst thing that can happen, even if you receive. This experience will scar you, and emotional scars never heal completely. You'll never recover. I stared at him. Pancakes forgotten. Greg drank his coffee. You have a problem. If you form a relationship with someone, he'll be a liability. You'll feel inadequate, and you'll deny yourself the satisfaction and joy of a true companionship. If you form a relationship with someone powerful, you run the risk of exposure or of being manipulated and used. Don't ever think that a man in a position of power won't tear down every wall in his way to form an alliance with you. What magic makes you a priceless asset? How can you tell if someone loves you or craves your power? I don't know. Greg nodded. Neither do I. A one-night stand with no strings attached is the safest option. It's not. But such is your reality. It's your life, Kate. I will advise you, but I won't force you to follow my advice. I will urge you to consider what I've told you. You've come this way. I'd hate to see it all go to waste. I'd gone back to Darren right after breakfast. We holed up in his apartment, drank cheap booze, and had sex for 2 days. At the end of the long weekend, I decided to take a shower. When I came out, Darren was holding my sword. He had never seen anything like that before. Could he take some samples? He was doing an independent study for the Mage Academy. It would really help him out. I told him I'd trade samples for a chicken burrito. The closest place that sold them was a couple of miles away. He complained, but I wouldn't budge. The moment he left, I called Greg. It took Greg 20 minutes to get to the apartment, and by the time he got there, I had shaken the sheets and pillowcases over the balcony, loaded them into the washing machine, swept the floor, and drowned the dishes in the sink. I wiped down the furniture and cleaned the shower drain. I removed all trash, every tissue, every stray hair, everything that could possibly betray me. Greg purified the apartment, searing it with his power.
Expand.
If any residual trace of my magic remained, it would be hidden. If Darren M-scanned the apartment, the M-scan would register only the blazing blue explosion of diviner power. Then, we and the trash bags left the building. 48 hours later, I was on my way to the Orders Academy, and I didn't know if it was because I wanted to get away from Darren or to get away from Greg, because he turned out to be right. I stared at the files marked with the paw print. Curran was paranoid. He valued his safety and the safety of the pet. Hell, he dedicated himself to preserving it. I always thought I put him in danger, and I told him so. He wanted me anyway. That meant everything to me. But Curran was also a manipulator. If I sat there and objectively looked at the situation, the picture didn't look pretty. Roland had marked the pack for elimination. Curran had grown too powerful. And my father wanted to destroy him now, before the pack grew any stronger. He had attacked it with Rakshasas, and when that failed, he sent my aunt to decimate the shapeshifters. One way or the other, the clash between Roland and the pack was coming. What did Curran have to lose by meeting with me? I wanted him so much that I had never considered he might want to use me. All this time, I'd been focused on worrying that my ancestry would keep him from being with me. It had never crossed my mind that he could view it as an asset. It was time to take the blinders off. When I looked into his eyes, I knew he loved me. He came for me when I had given up all hope of surviving. He rescued me from a horde of demons. He wanted to protect me. He never actually said it, Felt like he loved me. Also, Voron was a great father, and my mother was a saint, and pink unicorns would fly around on rainbow wings over hills made of chocolate and rivers of honey. I pushed away from the table. I was driving myself crazy. This brooding wasn't me. The door creaked. Probably Andrea or Derek. Good. If I sat here with my own thoughts for another minute, I'd need a straitjacket. Chapter 12. The moment I stepped downstairs, Andrea grabbed me. A pink flush painted her cheeks. She seemed agitated. Agitated wasn't good. We need to talk. Derek, you too. Everybody needed to talk to me. I was getting sick of talking. Before we do that, I've got something to show you. I led her to the loop cage. The Volv sat upright, tied to the chair. His eyes were closed. He looked passed out. Andrea's eyes widened. Who is that? That's a Volv. The Volv's eyelashes trembled. Wakey, wakey. The one who kidnapped Cayman? No. The one who kidnapped Cayman was an elder Volv. This one is more like middle management. Powerful, but not up there yet. Andrea arched her eyebrows. Aha. How did he get all beat up? He hassled me about meeting with Yevdokia. You were in a bad mood or something? You have no idea. Yeah, you might say that. Andrea pursed her lips. Why does he look like a Hidalgo pirate? I thought Russians were blonde. And we all carry a bottle of vodka in our pocket and wear a fur hat year-round. The Volv opened his black eyes. His gaze snagged on Andrea. He blinked and stared, stunned. Oh boy. Pretending to be passed out, I said. Just resting my eyes. He was still looking at Andrea. It's nice in here, peaceful. A slow smile bent the Volv's lips. Although, if you would like me to model a fur hat for you instead, we could come to an understanding. Andrea barked a short, derisive laugh and left the room. Does she work here with you? The Volv asked. You? Never mind. I told him, went out, and locked the door behind me for good measure. Andrea crossed her arms. The nerve! Did you see those eyes? Pow! Yeah, pow. You wanted to tell me something? Yes, Derek too. Kitchen? Yeah. The three of us landed at the kitchen table. Ascanio sauntered in and leaned against the wall. De Harvin's records are pristine, Andrea began. Everything checked out. He did 4 years in the army. I found his DD-214, the discharge papers, and called it in to the National Personnel Records. They said it would take 2 months to confirm, so I called it into a buddy of mine in the Military Supernatural Defense Unit. He says everything on MSDU's end comes up roses. I also found de Harvin's NCO evaluations and his pay stubs. A man might falsify his discharge papers, but he'd have to go an extra mile to fake pay stubs and performance reports. Orlando PD confirmed he was a cop, Derek said. I talked to 2 people who knew him. They said he was a good cop, dedicated. We went through de Harvin's apartment. Andrea opened an envelope and pulled a Polaroid out. It was a picture of a digital painting. The sunrise died down
Red
over
light
the sky,
camera
leaving ragged gray clouds in its wake. In the center of the picture, a lone rock jutted from troubled water, supporting a white spire of a lighthouse that sent a brilliant beam of light toward the horizon. The caption under the image said, "Darkness reigns at the foot of the lighthouse." Is this supposed to tell me something? I asked. It's a lighthouse, Andrea said, in the same voice in which people usually said, it's a murder. It's a very nice lighthouse. Lots of people have paintings of lighthouses. Where was she going with this? Andrea dug in the envelope and pulled out a picture in a frame. 2 rows of teenagers stood in their graduation robes. Andrea